Hello, mathematicians. Today we are talking about permutations. So a permutation is a list or arrangement of objects where order matters. So one example of this would be choosing a class schedule. When you're thinking about making a class schedule, the order really matters because you can't have the same class during second hour. That just would be silly. You can't go to two classes at once. So the same thing happens with lots of other things in life. So that's where permutations come into play in math. So our first example today, how many ways can 6 players stand in a row for a picture? So this is going to be a permutation because order matters, because they're going to stand in a row. So we can't have the same people in the same spot because then you wouldn't be able to see somebody. So we have 6 spots for our picture. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we have 6 players. So in our first spot, we still have all 6 players. So how many people can go in our first spot in the picture? 6. All right, so now we have somebody standing in the first spot. We're moving on to the second spot. So we're down 1 person from last time. So how many people are left that can go in the second spot? Should be 5, because we already have somebody standing in the first spot. So we had to take somebody away from our 6, so we should have 5. So now we have somebody in the first spot and the second spot. So that's like taking 2 people out of the mix. So how many people do we have for our next spot? 4. All right, so hopefully you guys are seeing the pattern by now. We're just going down 1 every time as we leave somebody in that spot. So how many people can go in my next spot? 3. And what about the next spot? 2. And we're down to the last spot. How many people can go there? Just 1. All right, so now we have all these numbers. But it's kind of like our fundamental counting principle. We need to multiply them all together. So go ahead and multiply 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. All right, what'd you guys get? I got 720. So we have 720 ways that we can make 6 players stand in a row for a picture. Our next example. If 10 people are racing, how many ways can first, second, and third place be awarded? So, how many spots do we need to fill? 3. We have first place, second place, and third place. All right, so we're starting with 10 people. So for first place, how many people do we have to choose from? 10. So we can choose from all of the people. All right, so now we already gave somebody first place. So we're taking them out of the mix. How many people can we have for second place? 9, because we already gave somebody first place, so we took them away. We took them away from the total 10. So we had 9 left for second place. So now we've given out first place and second place, but we still need to give out third place. So how many people are left that could get third place? 8. All right, now what do I need to do with these numbers? Multiply them together. All right, so go ahead and multiply 10 times 9 times 8. I got 720. So we have 720 ways that we could award first, second, and third place when we have 10 people. All right, our next example. If a student must take math, English, science, social studies, PE, and computers, how many schedule options are there? So go ahead and try this one on your own. All right, let's see how you did. So, how many options am I going to have? How many slots? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have to take 6 classes. So we need 6 lines. All right, so we have 6 classes to choose from, and we need to order them all for 6 hours of the day. So, starting with first hour, how many classes do we have to choose from? All 6. So now we've already put 1 in first hour. So now we're moving on to second hour. How many do we have to choose from now? 5. All right. So now, how about third hour? We already picked first and second hour. Third hour. 4. Now we've gotten rid of 3 classes. What about fourth hour? 3. What about fifth hour? 2. And sixth hour? Just 1. Nice job. All right, so what do I have to do with all of these numbers? Multiply them. All right, so in one of our last examples, we already multiplied 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. And what did we get? 720 possibilities. Nice job. All right, our last examples. 2 different letters are selected from the word math. How many different combinations are there? So, this one we're going to have to write out our list of all of the different combinations. So we have to remember that order is going to matter. So how many different letters are we selecting? 2. And how many options do we have for our first letter? 4. So we still have all of the letters. All right, so now we can't repeat letters. So we took one out because we already chose the first one. So how many options do we have for choosing our second letter? 3. 3 options because we took one away for our first letter and we can't repeat letters. Kind of like if we were picking them out of a Scrabble bag and we only had one M, one A, one T, and one H left. So now I have 4 and 3. What am I going to do with these numbers? Multiply them together. What's 4 times 3? 12. So we have 12 different options. All right, our last example. What is the probability that the first letter is M and the second letter is H? So we still have our first letter and our second letter. But now we need to think about the probability of getting an M first. So we're going to have a fraction. So what goes on bottom when we're finding probability? Our total. So what is our total number of letters? 4. Math has 4 letters. And of math, how many of those letters are M? 1. So our probability that the first letter is M is 1/4. Now we need to figure out the probability that the second letter is H. So of our letters that are left, how many are H? 1. So 1 goes on top. Now on bottom, we remember that we already took M out. So before we had 4 letters, we took M out. So how many letters are left to choose from? 3. So now we need to multiply these. We're multiplying fractions. We go straight across the top, straight across the bottom. So 1 times 1 is what? 1. And 4 times 3 is what? 12. So the probability that the first letter is M and the second letter is H is 1/12. So we have to remember that when we're finding permutations, We just have to remember that the order matters. So we're going to go down each time, but then we're still going to multiply all of the total options together. Nice job today, mathematicians.